Hello folks, before we start, please make sure you do me a favor by subscribing, liking the video if you do like it, sharing it with your friends, and commenting if there is any error from me that you would like to tell me about, or you want to criticize something, or you even want to tell me any of your suggestions. Anyway, I was trying to check something or check the software that's available on Yast. I was checking that one and I found a package which was called kernel-source, and the size was big as the source code of Linux kernel. And I thought if it's possible to use such native package which comes in the form of .rpm, the extension was .rpm, and checking if it's possible to compile it just like you compile Gentoo kernel by default. Like Gentoo uses Portage and it uses the native system scripts and package manager in order to give you the source, and then you compile it after you configure it yourself. I thought if it's possible to do such thing on openSUSE, Leap, the one that I'm using is Leap, that can be possible on Tumbleweed. If I'm not sure, you can check and tell me if it's possible or not. So I did zipper as root, of course, and install or in kernel-source. I have it installed, so you should run the command, this one, to install it. And then you need to run zipper in and curses -devel, like this. I have it installed as well. You will need this package to be able to run the command make menu config to configure your kernel. And then I have moved. I was in home, I have become the root user, you can see it here, I'm the root user, and then I've gone to USR SRC. I checked if the kernel is linked to a specific version like in Gentoo. Such thing is done by using eSelect. Here there is no eSelect, probably you should link it yourself using ln command. So it's linked by default. So we can move to Linux folder, and then I check there is here readme.suse. Okay, so let's try to run make, and it's working, see, but I'm not gonna compile the kernel, I'm just gonna show you some of the ways or some of the things that I found. This is for readme.suse. It tells about how to do it exactly. Maybe you can compile it yourself. This is a good option since the kernel may contain stuff that you do not need yourself. It contains a lot of drivers, a lot of options, a lot of features. Some of them may not be needed by some users, and compiling the kernel can make you get rid of those things, and has its own pros and cons for sure. So here's how you compile your own kernel. You can read it by going to /usr/src/linux/readme.suse. All of it is uppercase. I mean readme.suse. It's a little similar to Gentoo's method, and it's a little similar to the native method of kernel.org. When you take the kernel in a tar file, compressed tar file, it's very similar to it. And here it tells like some of the extra things to do, like for example /etc/modprobe/unsupported modules. You need to allow unsupported modules, otherwise modprobe will refuse to load any modules. And then you can add the kernel to the boot manager. This one is by running the command grab -mkconfig /o not /o/boot/grab/grab.cfg, or for openSUSE it becomes grab 2-mkconfig dash o slash boot slash grab.cfg. Okay, you can see here it says instead of building binary kernels by hand, you can also build one of the kernel flavor packages using RPM. This is really something awesome. I do like this thing, and I do believe it's useful somehow. Believe me, the kernel is like a huge package, which is something good and cool, but sometimes some of the stuff you may not need it, so you may need to recompile it fully. For example, you want to disable a specific device. That is not as easy as Windows. You just go to the device manager and you disable it. If you have it as a module, the driver, you can just run mod probe-r and the module name. It can have more than one, so you need to disable them one by one, and you need to put them in the blacklist. There is /etc/ modprobe.d, and then a file, I guess it's blacklist. You put it there and it's going to be disabled by default. But if it is built in the kernel as like something inside the kernel itself, you'll not be able to disable it as a module because it's not a module itself. So you need to recompile the kernel in such case. Sometimes you need to enable a specific driver, or you need to have a specific driver which is not enabled by default, so you need to enable it in your kernel as a module or as a feature built into your kernel, and you recompile it. You have the default or the universal method, which is getting the kernel from kernel.org. Here you decide whichever one you want. It's going to be a tarball, so in this case it's, for example, for the mainline 6.5 as of it's the mainline as for the date I'm recording this video. When you download it, it's going to be linux-6.5.tar.xz, and then you do some extra stuff aside from the stuff that you need to do on Gentoo or on openSUSE, the common stuff between Gentoo and openSUSE, because there is some extra stuff for openSUSE as you have seen here. And then you will continue with the same steps, like for example, make, install, make modules, install. All these commands, you need to do them in order to compile your kernel. And then also you may get the init rd, init ram disk, or init ram fs, if it's called any of those. Sometimes it's called like this, sometimes it's called like this. There is some difference between them. Sometimes this thing is done automatically for you, like it says here in openSUSE. Sometimes you need to do it yourself, like for Gentoo. I guess you need to do it yourself for when you get it from this website, which is the official website of the Linux kernel. Okay, so yeah, that was a method for natively getting a package. One of the pros for this thing, having it in your package manager natively, is being able to track it later. It can be updated, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't try it yet, to be honest. It cannot be easy to, I still don't know what are the options that I would like to enable them. I still did not try to compile my kernel myself. I don't recommend you to compile your kernel every day. It's not an easy stuff to do, especially if you have to choose each feature by yourself every time you compile it. Otherwise, if you knew what you would like to enable and enabled it and like updated your system, it's gonna get the new configuration from the old kernel, and then you decide the new features whether to enable them or not, and that's it, by running the command make old config. I guess here it tells about it. This one, you run this command in case you have an old kernel. Okay, and after that, all of it, you will have a compiled kernel with the features that you needed, and the features that you do not need, enabled. The ones that you need, and the ones that you don't need are disabled. Okay, I hope it's clear. Thanks for watching and see you.